Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Planify Podcast. My name is Angelo Gonzalez. I'm the Director of Operations for the Planify Agency, and we are a business growth agency. We're excited to be sharing with you a lot of different resources that are all meant for business owners and business leaders to be able to grow and scale their businesses and their life all around. And we do marketing, but part of what we do is not just focusing on tactics, on marketing tactics or sales tactics or anything like that, but working on the foundation of a business to be able to look at it holistically so that everything works together to be able to help a business grow. So Casey, we have Casey Cease here. He is the owner and CEO of Planify Agency. Why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners here?
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to check into the podcast, watch the video online, wherever you're watching it. I'm Casey. Angelo and I have been friends over 20 years and have been working in Planify Agency over 5, working on 6 years now, and have done work before that together. But our heart is for business owners at various stages of business growth, whether you're just getting started or you're looking to break through 8 figures, 9 figures. I've worked with a board of directors or a leadership executive team at a $1.2 billion a year company. But the fact is regardless of your size of business, there are consistent problems. People are people, and we have to figure out how do we take what we do and put it in front of the right people and offer them the best service possible, the best outcomes possible. And so our hope really for this podcast, as Angelo said, is to be a resource for business owners, business leaders, those in nonprofit leadership, and really help give you guidance and insights on what's going on, whether it's marketing, sales, operations, AI, the life of a leader. We have a lot to bring to the table. And so we just thought, hey, it's best to capture that information and talk about it and bring it through this venue. One, because we love helping business owners and leaders. Number 2, we have fun doing it. And Angelo and I love opportunities to hang out. And 3, we want really to provide a resource that extends beyond our ability to reach one-on-one.
Yeah. And, it's 2026, Casey. Everyone has a podcast these days.
Who doesn't have a podcast?
If you don't have a podcast, are you...
there's like podcasts run by AI avatars where they're not even like real human beings.
That's right.
And what terrifies me is their content might be better than ours.
That's right.
They never grow tired. They don't get wrinkles. They don't gain weight or lose weight. So the race is on, but we're here for it. And we it doesn't matter if we get 10 million followers or 10, we want to make an impact.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Planify and how did it start? I remember you giving me a call and telling me, hey, I'm starting a little agency here. Can you help me with some website and tech work? Yeah. And that was, I think, in 2019.
That's right.
And I said, yeah, sure. I can help you out. And that was, kind of the beginning of it. Why don't you tell a little bit about, the genesis of Planify Agency?
Well, the genesis comes through crisis that many business owners share called the COVID pandemic. But prior to that, I own a book publishing company called Lucid Books, and we were going and blowing, helping publish books and everything else. And so a lot of people, because we were having success there, and I was the marketing guy, and I've loved marketing for a long time. And so people started asking me like, hey, can you help me with my marketing? And, can you give me a website? Can you do these things? And so I started, it was called Lucid Marketing at the time under Lucid Books. And then the pandemic happened, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, it was abrupt. Immediately it went from overnight printing, a book gets ordered on Amazon or your favorite place, print on demand would happen in a day, it would ship and it would be off to the races. All of a sudden the pandemic hits, Amazon quits buying books for about 90 days. They buy medical equipment and household goods, which I understand, but they quit buying books. And then we're with the largest printer and distributor in the world. It took 48 days to print one book. And so something magical happens when you're sitting there and saying, what are we going to do?
Right.
And so having read, business books for years and have friends in different backgrounds, I started realizing that a lot of companies, though, that weren't really emphasizing much in digital marketing needed to get online very quickly.
Yes.
And so I realized, okay, I have a great team at Lucid Books, but if Lucid is going to collapse, which thank God it didn't, but if it was, I would want to build something fresh for them to join me in and also provide solutions for business owners I knew that needed support right away. And so I wish I could give a flashier description of like, man, I had this idea and, we had $1 million in seed round, and we're able to. Oh no, it was water's bailing in the boat. People have a need. I see the need, and so we went and I had a friend of mine that was a branding strategist, and I went to him and I said, hey, what does it cost? He said, I usually charge 15,000 just for a brand name and for a logo. And I said, can can we figure something out? And he was very kind and worked with me, and he did a global research on names and everything else, and asked me a lot of what I like to do. I like to help people have a strategy and really make plans that they can execute and measure. And so through all of his research, he came back and said, well, interestingly, Planify is available for a trademark and everything else. And it seems like that's what you want to do, help people planify their business. And so that's where the name came from. I used a branding expert outside of myself because I actually come up with some pretty dumb names. Names I come up with may be meaningful to me, but very confusing
Right.
to my target audience. And so people are like, well, you're a marketing guy. I'm like, yeah, but I know where I'm good and where I'm not. And so I can come up with a bunch of ideas and occasionally accidentally land on one. But so Planify Agency was a help of a branding specialist. We're able to then, with my attorney, Nick, able to get the trademark and registered trademark for Planify. And, we launched and we were able to help clients out and see businesses grow. But it was a scary time. So I wish I could say, like, I had this great idea on the beach.
Well, I think, that probably resonates with a lot of business owners because I think it's probably not unique, right? I mean, you
No.
probably you mentioned it, but a lot of innovation in the world, just in the history of the world, comes from there's some kind of crisis, some kind of disruption happens. And then people see, you could cry and you could bury your head in the
There
sand.
was some of
that. But then
I just didn't live stream it.
But then you start going, okay, I can sit here and do nothing about it. Or, right, I can look for an opportunity and see, okay, God can still work in this. There's something that can happen here. We can still do something. So you start kind of thinking about what are the opportunities here in this crisis or in this time that seemingly looks like it's going to tank my other business. What can I do? And then this opportunity reveals itself. Well, I'm kind of good at these things. And right now, yeah, there's a lot of things shutting down, but people need to be online right now. So people are scrambling for that. How can I help? And you saw that as an opportunity to kind of, jump in. Well, here's something we can do, and also maybe create a business out of it, and create something that's lasting. Yeah.
When I was doing some consulting at the time, I have a coaching and consulting practice that was a separate thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank God every day there was a plumbing company that I was working with about an hour from here. And so within a couple weeks, they were what are they called? A mandatory service or, necessary service.
Oh, yeah.
Where they were
God,
allowed
that
to
seems
stay
like
open,
a lifetime ago.
right? Doesn't it? I mean, it was, 5-6 years ago, and it feels like 20 years ago.
Yes.
But, but I remember they were kind and let me finish my engagement for a couple months, right? So that I was able to finish everything that I was setting out to do. And then from there, I was able to go and, so I pivoted from just the coaching consulting because that fell off unless they're, a necessary service provider. No one was having you out. And so,
Right.
And you're right. I mean, whenever I've tried to start a business to just make money, number one, I don't have the drive long-term to follow through. Whenever I ask the question, who needs help and how can I help and what am I good at to offer that help? Then I'm able to really find the solution that, and start, with the publishing, with the coaching. And I think for business owners, the knee-jerk reaction is I've got to make money. What can I do to make money? But I've been fortunate enough that the plans that I put in place that are working are things that I actually really enjoy to do. Because, I've started some companies just to make money. And even if they made some money, I hated them. And so it was like, okay, that's not my shtick. Some people can do anything all the time, whatever. I'm not wired that way. It's like, I'd rather have less money than have to do that ever again. And some people might say that's a flaw. But for me, I've just tried to turn it into a benefit. But it is interesting to see the origins of businesses
Mm-hmm.
where, one, I do think it's a gift from God. And number two, I do think it came from a place of panic, but then rethinking of like, what does the world need right now? What do I need? Well, I need to slow down. I need to be reflective. I need to be aware of what's going on. I need to take inventory, whatever I have. And quite honestly, part of it happened was I started giving things away for free, right? Like just saying, hey, if you need help thinking through how to repurpose your strategy, I'll give you 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. And I would just have people reach out over Facebook and everything else and just give away. I remember I did a pay anything you want for a book marketing masterclass during the pandemic early on because there were a bunch of authors who couldn't go to their speaking events or they couldn't go network like they were. And so I put together like a 5-week thing and just said, pay whatever you want. And like one gal came on there, like a friend of mine from middle school, and sent me $300. And I was like, I'm so rich right now. Right. Because and I was like, the business side's like, well, this content's worth $3,000. But, I mean, I literally said a minimum of $1, you get to be in, whatever. And so people were paying $1. I didn't care. But I think part of that lesson that we carry over into what we do with Planify is there is momentum that needs to have. And a lot of times when we interact with business owners, they think they just need marketing, but really what's happening is they're stuck.
Yeah.
Right. There's blockers in their business. They're too close to it. They're not able to see it. And so when Planify, the vision was beyond just a marketing agency, which is usually an entry point for people with us. But what people are really asking is, can we make a plan to make this break through our barriers in a way that is strategic and that is measurable? And that's been a real push of ours the last 5 or 6 years, is putting that in place.
Yeah. You talk about being more holistic, thinking through not just doing marketing, because we've had our fair share of clients and people even we've engaged with that maybe even don't even become clients, but people we, do sales calls with or, give a proposal to. And you mentioned marketing being the point of entry. Oh, I need to do social media. I need business. I need to run Google ads. I need a new website. I need lead generation of some kind, right? What have you seen over the last, 6 years that now Planify has been in existence of those that mindset of looking at the thing, the tactic, and how Planify is different in that. And when we come and look at that, this is what I tell people. I said, we can do your social media for however much a month. Sure. 3 posts a week,
Right.
Whatever. But we don't want to just do that. Or we can run ads for you. But if there's certain things in your business that are still broken foundationally, the ads that we can bring you leads is not going to matter. So talk a little bit more towards that about kind of, the clients we work with and their mindset behind all of that.
Yeah. I mean, people come to us all the time saying, hey, can you fix my website or set me up on Google local service ads? Or what about AEO, answer engine optimization? It's like, yeah, we know all about that. But who are you trying to reach? Right? If an author comes to me and says, like, can you help me sell my book? I'm like, great. Who's the target audience? Everyone. And I'm like, okay, is this for a 9-year-old girl? No, they probably wouldn't find it interesting. Okay, what about an 85-year-old man? No, probably not. So everyone is probably a stretch, right? They don't have an ideal target. And so what happens is, many agencies are like, yeah, we'll run ads. And you get in a fight with them because they're like, well, we're bringing leads. You get click-throughs, you get this and that, but none of them are good leads. And so the first thing we have to do is address strategy, right? And look at, okay, what is the goal? Who do we want to reach? Where do we want to take them? How do we take someone from a stranger to a raving referral partner? And what is our strategic process to take them there?
So whenever we're working with business owners, sometimes we get in a proposal stage or, we engage with them and they start asking for, can you do my social media? Can you help me with my website? Can you help me with lead generation or Google ads or whatever it may be? All of these different marketing services that are out there. And sure, yeah, happy to do those things, but we like to work more holistically, as we mentioned, right? So talk a little bit about the difference between looking at just the tactics of a marketing plan, but actually having a marketing strategy and where kind of we shine in that area.
Yeah, early on, it was like, can you do this? Yes, please, I'll do it. And we'll figure it out and I'll undercharge for it. And you'll still be not satisfied, right? I mean, like, that's the nature of starting any sort of agency. But always, as I said, the vision was being a business growth agency, where we understand if marketing works and sales is on point and operations is fully operating and functioning, a business will scale substantially. I've seen that in my own companies, and we've seen it in our clients. The challenge is for so many years, marketing agencies have been a turnkey. I remember back in the day when the Yellow Pages went digital. You go to the Yellow Pages to, get in their book, but also get listed online, and they would sell their services. And you have a lot of services like that. The challenge, though, with marketing tactics is tactics are meant to be implemented well at a certain stage of a value journey for a customer. But most of the time, people just, okay, we're going to turn on, you're a plumber, got a broken toilet, whatever. And they might have it in your demographic or whatever, or geographic, but it doesn't, the lead quality may be all over the place. You're not really sure how to measure it. You're not sure if it's word of mouth or whatever. And so for us, what we tell people is we want to help you come up with a growth strategy for your business, because you and I both know we've had many clients we've helped flood with leads. I mean, we had a call recently and they're like, keep it where it's at, but please no more leads. We're capped, right? Well, if we're just a marketing agency, we're like, okay, set it, forget it, and check on it every so often. But our question is, well, where are we getting stuck? Where are we getting capped off, right? Because we're strategically inclined to help think through sales struggles, operation struggles, scheduling struggles. Are there tools we can use? Are there AI solutions to help break through those bottlenecks? And so for us, what we do is we tell clients, like, yes, we can handle tactics, but we're not comfortable doing so without a documented strategy.
Right.
And really, just to break it down real easy, Angelo, and for our listeners, our growth strategies, whether you call it a marketing strategy, I like to call them a growth strategy, identifies three things. Who are we trying to reach? What is the high-end offer of that relationship? And so what's the journey that we take on that relationship to get to that offer and then make them into a referral partner? And three, how do we measure each step of the process? With those three things, the person, the who, the process of building that relationship, and then the measurement component, then we're able to appropriately say, okay, where's your ideal client or customer located? Where are they paying attention? Where are they looking for this? What tactic will be best to at least try and measure? And then how do we scale that as it goes? It seems like just, strategy, tactics, same thing. It's not when you break it down, because ultimately you don't want to have to go to 85 different vendors. Case in point, we have a client that we signed at the end of last year, and he came to us, for asking some questions about AI and then maybe some marketing. I said, well, do you have a documented marketing strategy? And he said, no. And so I went and we spent some time online, and I went and flew and saw him where he lives, worked with him for a day, put together a fully documented growth strategy. And I was thinking he was going to hand it off to all of his vendors. And he came back to us and said, you understand my business better than I had. You understand it better than all my vendors. Can you do everything that needs to be done to make this happen? And it went from, a smaller engagement to we're now running, not only the marketing element, but also the lead flow element, the AI implementation, everything, because for the first time with all the vendors he's spoken with, not many people really emphasize strategy, and we won't start unless we're there. Right. And so that's a big difference for us, because I don't want to just grow your lead gen and then, like I said before, fight about the quality of leads. I want to know who we're going after, where they hang out, what should they be communicated at what stage of the process, so that by the time they get to your salesperson, or they get handed off to a client management associate or whatever, they're sold, and you have an opportunity to continue marketing by treating them well.
Right. I was just speaking with a business owner who recently bought a franchise. He's about 3 months in, and he was asking me, I asked him if he was doing, any kind of marketing. Yeah, we have a marketing agency that works with our franchise, and they're sending me reports, and it has like the click-through rate and the cost per lead. And he was like, what's a good cost per lead? He asked me. And I'm just like, well, there's a lot of different factors. I think he was just asking, well, is it $50, $100, $25? He was like, I just think it's too high. And I said, well, what's the lifetime value of a client, of a customer, and I just kind of started asking them, and how, if you get a referral from that client, you have a referral, then your lifetime value actually doubles, because now
your cost acquisition goes in half.
That's right. And I was like, so yeah, how much and how much are your services? Is it $500? Is it $1,000? Is it, $100? Well, it varies. I was like, well, pick an average, or do 2 different services, and I kind of just started talking them through, but so many people were just like, well, what's a good cost per lead? How much should I be posting on social media? How do I do SEO? What's good SEO? And Those are all good questions, and they're questions that business owners need to be asking. But at Planify, I feel like the thing that we value so much is diving into that strategy, diving into deeper questions, more foundational questions, so that, let's say, we don't want to do Planify anymore. God calls us something else, or Planify shuts down, or whatever it may be. They have a strategy now that they can go and do it on their own. Let's say, man, we're growing so much, we're going to hire our own in-house marketing now. Well, you have a documented strategy you can take, and it's not just so, oh, well, we can charge more and we can, have a longer engagement. It is for them.
Well, that's the big leaky hole of. I mean, no offense, but most clients, when I'm like, who's your marketing agency? Not many are thrilled.
Right.
It's just like, they're at least a known factor.
Yeah.
Right. And we frustrated some of our clients early on because we didn't insist on the strategy.
Yeah.
But when we have a strategy that we have agreement on, that we have KPIs we're measuring, we can have real scaling conversations on how to grow their business. And so that's why I'm really excited about this podcast, Angelo. Excited to have those discussions, answer questions as people send them in.
Yeah.
Bring on guests that share their journeys in business and growth and failure, and learn together in this community.
Yeah, definitely. So we're really excited for you to be joining us on this journey. We're going to be providing more content, interviews with business owners, interviews with business leaders, topical type content that will enrich business owners' lives and business leaders' lives. So make sure to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. You can follow us on all the social media platforms. You can find us, just type in Planify Agency. You can visit planify.agency on the web and find our website there and find a lot of different resources. But we hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will see you next time.